From Kim Kardashian to Rihanna to Deepika Padukone, the sari has traveled across the globe and across multiple centuries to come to the global phenomenon that it is today. Today, I am joined by Priyanka Achanta, founder of Sarees by Kara, to explain how this historic garment has traveled across time to be the global phenomenon that it is today.
It's Lil Baby.
This is Ihram Chowdhury with Conversations with Chai, presented by the Chowdhury Network. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So,
Awesome.
I guess for people that don't know, what is a sari?
Sari is a South Asian garment. Basically, it's an unstitched fabric that is 5 to 9 yards long, and it's not usually like a Western clothing where it's already stitched. And it has like you can wear a sari as however you want it to wear. Like you can wear it as a dhoti style, you can wear it as like different types of drapings, and even as like a skirt or even lehenga, anything that you want. So sari, it started back in like 5,000 years ago. So the legacy and the history that it carries is very, very deep. It goes over the years and decades.
Where did the sari start, or like how did the sari start?
So sari started back in Indus Valley civilization, basically back in during like the Mughal era, or like like back in the royalties, or as the generations have started to go on, like before India, when Pakistan was also a part of India, and Bangladesh, and so it's like a carry forward of throughout the history of how India has even became a continent, basically.
So you said 5,000 years?
5,000 years.
And it's something that is a very like originated inside the South Asian subcontinent.
Yep, exactly. So it's from I don't know if many people know about the Mughal era, right? It's from like the royalties, the kings, and then the queens era, and then usually there's a different types of saris that people usually wear. For example, the royalties used to wear like Banarasi or like Kanjeevaram, or whereas the more of like the middle class or the poorer class, they used to wear like the Venkatagiris and more of like a cotton base of saris and stuff like that. So
What are those differences? Like, I'm unfamiliar. You mentioned like when I think about a sari, like I just think about like the two different like fabrics. Like my mom would be like gorgeous or like whatever, right?
So Kanjeevaram or like Kanjeevaram. So Kanjeevaram is from Chennai, basically.
Okay.
So Kanjeevaram is made of like pure mulberry silk, and it's a very rich, and actually I have a sample.
Oh, amazing.
So if you look at this, right?
Okay.
It's a pure mulberry silk sari that has like the elegance and the shine that comes automatically, right?
Okay.
And so the sari is made in a village called Kanjeevaram in Chennai.
Okay.
And the entire village itself, in every household there's a weaving loom.
Okay.
So every single person, every single family over there has been carrying forward this legacy of weaving, and the designs on the saris are mostly...
You're talking about just like the designs of you're talking about like the prints themselves, right?
Yeah, so the prints themselves are basically inspired from the temple,
Okay.
the designs, the motifs, the elephants, the peacocks, and like if you look at the temple structures in Chennai, if you ever looked at it, it has like mostly like the goddesses and like the peacocks, and then the elephants. So all of these little designs and motifs are stitched into this sari, and it takes at least 50 people to make one sari of that.
So this sari is from Chennai, or a very specific place in Chennai. So like, is what is like a different type of sari that, and like what would be like the stark differences? Like I'm very like, I know you have like other ones, right? So like, so this one is from Chennai.
Yeah. So I have another one. This is called the Kalamkari.
Okay.
So Kalamkari is mostly from the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana district, where this is mostly just like a fabric, but it's more of a block print. So it's more like an artistry type of sari that's mostly like block printed or It doesn't have much of a loom structure for this. It's not like hand loomed.
Okay.
It's mostly just painted and then mostly dipped in tie dye.
Okay.
And based on like the block prints, like for example mangoes or peacocks or flowers. It's mostly like more flowy cotton kind of structure.
So this one you would say is like something that like royalty,
Yeah.
like you can tell, just like finer,
Yeah,
more
exactly.
difficult craftsmanship, right?
Exactly,
And
yeah.
whereas like this, like obviously like you could tell, right? Like again, different reasons
Yeah.
to wear them. Like I know like my mom when she would like, you know, the saris that she would wear at like home
Yeah.
compared to like the saris that she would wear
Exactly.
like out would differ in different
Exactly.
terms of quality and like weddings and things like that.
Exactly. So Kanchipattu or Benares or like even the patiola kind of drapes or the saris are mostly for weddings or receptions or even like the pujas or temples, like whenever you want to go somewhere grandeur, right? Whereas the Kanchipattu, the kalamkari and like the kuppadam, those type of sarees are more of like a homely based and like, you know, they can wear it every day because they're more of a cotton silk, whereas this is mostly pure of silk, right? So if you weigh both of them, you can see that Kanchipattu saree is more heavier and more like it shines more brighter than the kalamkari saree. Yeah.
So like what is like even just like, you know, my mind always goes to fucking money. Like what is like the difference, like if somebody who like didn't know, right? Like and we had to like, you know, like whether it's here or in the US or in India, right? Like what is like the difference in price between like these two saris?
So the Kanchipattu sarees, because of the effort that it takes and it's hand loomed, and hand loom is basically weavers that work day and night, and it takes at least 2 months to create one saree. The effort that it takes to create a Kanchipattu or Benares saree is more expensive than the kalamkari saree, right? Because the material itself, the fabric itself, is pure mulberry silk. So mulberry itself lasts longer, and it's an investment that people make. So the Kanchipattu saree in US dollars, it varies from at least like $300 to $500, whereas kalamkari is mostly it's a block print, it's an artistry. That's also a piece of art, where cotton silk like cloth, but it's more of a flowy, and I think like you could wear it every day. It's more easier to drape in like quick 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's more of like, I would say like $75 to $100.
This is so this you're saying would take like if you did it like the right way, would take 2 months to make.
Yep.
That is
Especially
crazy.
For bridal sarees, yep.
But the quality is definitely there because like I've seen like my aunts, like my mom, like
Yeah.
they have saris from like 30 years ago
Yeah.
that now like my sisters and my cousins are like still like getting
Yeah,
passed down
exactly.
to, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely still worth it to do it the right way.
Exactly, because you know what they say, right? When you invest in a bridal saree, or let's say like even a lehenga, right? You would want, like our moms would want that piece of fabric to be passed down to generations, because some people, they cherish that investment that they made back in the day. Like, oh, you know, my mom has wore this saree, so your daughters feel like, oh, you know, sometimes I want to wear my mom's saree for the wedding itself.
Yeah.
For example, for me, my mom bought a Benares, like I think I would say like a dark green saree. That I cherish that saree so much, and I think like, and when she bought it back in the day, I would say that saree was $120, and now in today's time, that saree's worth is around $550.
Really? So, okay, so I know like other things that are like vintage and classic do appreciate, but I wasn't sure. So saris do appreciate over time?
Yep.
That's so interesting. Yeah. And like, would you say like, I can't tell the difference, but do you think like, obviously this is something that has been made for 5,000 years, but stylistically, would you say that it's changed a lot?
No.
Right?
It's a classic. You can change, because you can, right? Because that beats the purpose of the name that the saree has gotten it from, right? Because Kanchipattu, let's say, it's made in that village of Kanjeevaram, right? And the entire city is actually called as City of Gods, because the temples over there's almost 1,000 temples in that village that people actually get inspired to go to. So the sarees that are made are from those structures of the temples. So I wouldn't say you can't really like created different type of styles, but it's a classic look that usually bridals would go for.
But now, obviously, like saris, like obviously, like the way that they were classically done, right, over the course of like time and history, right, like the business around saris has also like been revolutionized, right? Like, what are those changes, whether it's like stylistically or whether it's like in the actual manufacturing, right? Because now it's like no longer just being made in like India, right, or just being like it's being made everywhere, right? Especially now, like you see on like you can buy, I wouldn't call them saris because they are really just dupes of saris, but you're seeing a similar style being fabricated in the West too.
Yeah, there. I mean, not fabricated in the West. I feel like people are trying to, I guess, beat the purpose of a sari. I would say, because I mean, there's also like beautiful saris that are being made and like different styles that people are wearing it as, like with the corset blouses, or like, you know, having it as draped as a lehenga when it's actually like the 9-yard sari. So I mean, no hate, no shade to any of those, but I feel like if you want to wear a sari for a wedding, right, and you want it to look like a royal kind of presence, and that look you would cherish for the entire, like, for your rest of your life, because that was your wedding look. I think, in my opinion, I don't think we should go into like more modern times in everything. I think there should be a classic look that should stick with the saris, I feel like.
I do think that
Because
that is,
it beats the purpose, right? I mean, there's a huge history behind these saris of like 5,000 years of legacy. And yeah, I mean, there is a gentrification kind of in fashion as well, but I feel like not everything needs to be trendy, right?
yeah, I do think that, like, for me, just like as like somebody, like, you know, just from the culture, right, like I think it is really cool to see like now saris being acceptable on like red carpets, right,
Yeah.
like not just from like like stars from South Asia, right, but like across the board, right, like it's become more of an accepted thing, because I do think it's like a beautiful piece of like just like where, and that's why it's lasted as long as it's lasted, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's true, but I also feel like there's not really a true um there's no true representation of that Indian sari, I would feel like. I mean, let's say, for example, Gucci made Alia Bhatt wear the interpretation of a sari, whereas it's not really a sari if you look at it. It's like, it's literally a two-piece with the drape, which looks like a lehenga. And then recently I saw that Givenchy was also having a fashion show in Paris where they had like a dhoti style like skirts, basically. It's just a skirt and like a blouse that, if you know the movie Tal, I Sure Your I was also wearing the same style, right? But there was no appreciation, or there was no mention that, you know, this type of design was inspired by the Indians, right? It's like, I feel like there's a lot of like bits and pieces that are being taken from India, but not really like the representation is not going back to our South Asians. That's what I feel like.
So in terms of like, so let's put some shine on them, right? When you think about like sari designers today, right, from South Asia, like who do you think about? Like I can't even tell you, like if you were gonna, like, you know, money didn't matter, like if you had to just like go get a sari, right, like who would you recommend?
Honestly, I don't think I can think of any luxury brands that I would go for, to be honest. I think I would just go to the weavers in India.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Because even if you ask any of my friends, or let's say, like, because I started this back in 21, right? And during that time, I think some of my friends were getting married. And so I asked the same question. I said, you know, for a sari, where would you go? And most of them said, my parents are back in India. They usually go to like Chennai, or they go to Hyderabad, or they go to their specific regions, and kind of sometimes they customize their own saris from the weavers, or they go to, there's this brand in India called I think Kalyani Brothers. They're one of those famous, I guess, a brand in India. But other than that, I have not heard anyone say a branded name for saris.
It's interesting because it definitely is like one of those things where it's like, because it is such like a technical craft,
Yeah.
right? That like the artisanal version of it,
Yeah.
you're getting, if you can get it straight from the source, you're saving yourself like all that in between of just like brand name on top of it, right?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
it is just the repackaging of,
Yeah.
like, if this is taking 2 months to make, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody's gonna put their brand on it, right? And like 3x the price on whatever this is, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's it's interesting. So like when you think about like innovation in terms of like saris, like do you think that people can innovate within this, right? Like you
Yeah.
have, like, obviously, like, you have a brand, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you differentiate, like, hey, like, this is, my saris are different than this person's saris or this brand saris?
Well, I mean, the differentiation comes from where you're getting it sourced from, right? Because if you're adding your own designs to it with the own embroidery or with your own like beads and pieces that are added to the sari, I think that creates your own original look. But from where I differentiate is that I'm honestly just bringing the authenticity back to the US in a way, because there's a lot of like where like everyone says, oh, I'm bringing culture and authenticity back, whereas it's not really authentic. You're just making designs that are already there and adding your own touch to it, which is
Mm-hmm.
different. But whereas I'm just bringing the materials and the saris that are created by India's master weavers back in India and getting it sourced here that people can just buy in the US rather than going back to India for their bridal and wedding looks, basically.
I get it, right? Like, it's just making it like accessible for people
Yes,
in the U.S. to be able to get it, right? Because like
exactly.
Sarees by Cara is doing fashion shows like inside New York, right? So like
Yeah,
instead of like the 21-year-old who wants a sari today, right? Instead of
exactly.
having to go back and ask my mom, be like, "Yo,
Yeah,
where do I go?" Or like go to Jackson Heights and grab it. It's like I
exactly.
can get it from somebody in a brand that I like know, trust their taste, what have you.
Exactly, because like a lot of my friends, they had to like because everyone works right now, and because of the during COVID people had to work from home, and then there was like travel restrictions. Even today we still have travel restrictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's such a it's we're in such uncertain times that we don't know if, let's say, if we do go to India, when can we get back to to US in time, or the coordination with like 9 to 5 work, and also going shopping for like saris and everything, and you're still wasting like flight tickets, and then wait time, and then also like work. It's so much chaos in finding for that one material. So I thought, okay, if I can just make the bridal look accessible here, that would kind of bridge out most of the tensions that most brides face
It's
in
amazing.
the
So
wedding.
so wait, I should have asked. So are these saris by Cara?
Yes.
Oh, so these are saris by Cara.
Yes.
Okay, cool, amazing. So like, how would you say that like you differentiated these between what would already be on the market? Obviously, where you're sourcing. So this is like a true
Yep.
from Chennai.
From Chennai,
Uh,
from the weavers, straight from the weavers, no manufacturers. Because usually what happens is in India, weavers, the manufacturers go to the weavers, they buy off a bulk of saris, and then they kind of showcase in their stores or shops. Whereas I just go straight to the source, to the weaver. So it's like if you have any customizations need to be done, I can just tell the weaver itself, not the manufacturer
Mm-hmm.
or the middleman, saying, "Hey, listen, like I need this and this and this," and they would tell you, "Oh, you have to wait for like 3 months or like 2 months, whatever." Whereas I'm just telling the weaver, "Hey, listen, like this is the bride. This is what she needs. She wants like a larger border. She wants a shorter border. She wants this design, that design." And that can be done with the weavers within like a month or two, rather than waiting for an extra month for the manufacturer to get it and then to ship here, basically, right?
Mm.
And so you asked the question of how would I differentiate. No, what was the question? Sorry.
Like what is your spin on like this? Like this, like if I were to get like this in India,
Yeah.
right? Like, would I notice that there's like a difference between that and getting it through Saris by Cara?
uh
Like,
yes.
yes.
Yes, because in like stores and in like manufacturers or in India, what they would do is sometimes they would bring out like the old kind of like the materials, and then they kind of like they push it to the front to kind of have the shoppers to get, okay, like this saree is, they kind of rig the prices too, right? That's what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
Because like they might have bought the saree for like $200, but then for the consumers they might say, oh, you know, this is like a pure cotton silk and it's very expensive, so it's going for like $800 in the market right now. Whereas I am just getting it from the weavers directly, and whatever price I get from them, I'm just adding it over here based on, and basically adding like 2% cost of whatever prices they would put for the flights. I would just adding it on the thing. So
No, I think that that's like what I hope, like as more brands here start participating inside like the saree market, because there is going to be a demand for
Yeah.
US based
yeah,
companies that distribute sarees, right? Because like obviously like my mom, my aunts, right? Like they are gonna go to Jackson Heights and go to a store
Yeah.
and like go pick out the saree that's gonna be marked up like 5 different times
Yeah.
before they get it. Or they're gonna go back to Bangladesh or go back to India
Yeah.
and go buy a saree every single time they come and then bring it back on the flight.
Exactly.
But all of my homegirls, right? Like my sister, my cousins, right? When they go, like I think about it, like who are they going to get their wedding sarees from? Or like if our moms and aunts aren't around, like where are they gonna go purchase like the sarees that they want to wear out to like events? Because like we still have like a bunch of occasions
Yeah.
to wear. Like obviously the Diwali just passed, right? And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of those parties, I'm like, wow, like some of these designs are beautiful, and I don't know which designers are
Yeah, yeah.
getting hit up for those, right? But I'm like, there is a need and a demand for US based saree companies.
Yep. And the thing is that like most weavers, what they do is sometimes they have a design that's already set and they kind of put it to the side to kind of reserve it for certain situations, right? But for manufacturers, what happens is they might have the similar kind of design, and what girls hate the most is when they have the same kind of design worn it with different colors, right? So it's like that's also to add to the question that you previously asked, right? For like most of the stores in India might have a similar kind of design, similar saree, similar look. Whereas if you're just going straight to the weavers, you can have them customize it in your own look, basically, right? So what I am getting, what Sarees by Kara is getting, is like a particular look and a particular design that the brides would wanna have worn or have that particular design that they want, rather than just going around shopping in different stores in India and just getting, oh, okay, like this color looks good, and then if you go to another store, it's a different color but same kind of design that you're finding. So I'm trying to avoid all of that and trying to get it from the weavers who can design it for you and have a special design reserved for the brides, basically.
So this is so interesting. So like, do you think that this is like from where you're getting like something like this in China, right? Is this like a craft that it has to be like passed down, because it is a high skill craft, right?
Yes.
Like this is not like something I can like build a machine and then mass produce this, right?
no,
like
yeah.
well, this specific like
Yeah.
type, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
sure that there's rip-offs and like knockoffs that
Exactly.
people are able to mass manufacture.
Yeah.
But like for something like this is like a skill that somebody has to like learn, right?
Exactly, yes. Because it takes like I said, I think like it takes 50 people to make it, because it's not just sitting there and doing the looms, right? You have to tie it, you have to first work with the silk, the
Walk me
threads.
through the entire process. Like walk me through the entire process of like making a saree.
So first you need to get the silk, like the threads, right?
Okay.
And then once you get the threads, you have to put the dye in it and then put the colors in it, and the color process, it takes that itself takes at least 10 days. And then once the colors are sitting on the threads, you have to sun dry it, and then after that you have to make the designs. And for the designs, there's like a loom plates that you have to do. So each loom plate for each thread, so let's say for example, for this one particular design, for this one particular box itself, right?
So like this little box.
So for this little box, it takes like 10 days for them to do it. because you need to set the design correctly, you need to set the threads correctly, you need to make sure that
Because this is all fabric. This is not like, this is like pure fabric that's
exactly
dyed into this color.
exactly that's dyed into that threads of color. So each thread, let's say for example, this is gold here and this is red, and there's like a bit pieces of also purple, I would say, right, in the saree. So you would have to particularly place those threads in that particular color and in that particular motive, basically this whole design as a motive. So that itself takes like precise design, precise loom mechanism and stuff. Whereas if you take kalamkari, right, you can open it, it's fine. So whereas if you take kalamkari, it's like
so
a
bad at
piece
these.
of so it's just a cotton like silk cloth, where this is more of like a block print. So you have to make sure that the print is set properly at that particular place.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is more of like a tie dye, where you know usually how you do the tie.
Yeah.
dye
You're dipping it in paint on top.
Exactly, and then you do the block print. And
Whereas this is like every specific fabric, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then they dye the silk,
Yep.
put the looms on,
Yep.
and then that process takes like how long?
That process takes like at least 30 days to create it. Because it's like once you loom it, you have to also tie it. So the specific technique for that loom is called koravai. Koravai technique is used for Kanchipattu and Kupadam sarees, and also Banarasi sarees.
This is such a random question, right?
Yeah.
So because I'm assuming that like these like designs, like these motives, right, are ones that obviously like these are like traditional, right? And like we've seen that, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking like if I wanted like a very specific like logo or like lettering done in
On
this type of style,
Yeah.
like that's like a huge lift, right? Because they would have to build out
Yep.
whatever.
They have to change the entire whatever designs that they already have. They'd have to move around the plates and get a particular type of thread, and add extra thread for you to add a logo on that saree, which adds another 20 days for the saree.
Yo, just know at some point y'all gonna see the LV monochrome on one of these sarees. As soon as they can figure out how to get that done properly, right? You're gonna see the LV monochrome on one of these. No, because it has to be like again, like you're of course like trying to keep it alive here in the US, right? But like you're trying to keep it alive in like the right authentic way.
Yep.
Because like I know that like again like just we're starting to see like obviously like the globalization of the saree, right? Like you mentioned like Alia Bhatt for Gucci, right? Like obviously
And
we've
Kia Burger from Givenchy.
for Givenchy,
She's
right?
like a dhoti style skirt. I'll actually send you the video later.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to like see all of these, right? Like you're obviously like when like the Ambani wedding went over, right? And like you're seeing like Kim Kardashian like wear you know saree types, right? Like I wouldn't call them sarees, right? But like saree types.
Those are all beautiful too. Like
yes,
there's no shade. They're all beautiful. They're all trendy. I mean, if I were to go to a wedding, maybe I would also wear something that's a bit more stylish. But if you think about it, would a bride wear something stylish like that? I don't know. I mean,
no, I like again like that, and that's where I'm very curious, right? Because like we are starting to see like obviously not just on like the fashion bit, right? We're starting to see the export of culture from like South Asia across the world, right? So I'm curious to see the adoption of it, right? Like I know like the whole like thing on the internet was like the whole Scandinavian scarf with like dupattas.
Oh my god, yes.
Right? And so I do want to like that's why I think it is important for like a business like Saree by Cara to exist, right? And other like South Asian owned designers, because like as the market
that represent true culture, right? Because like I mean, trends come and go, I feel like, and usually from these trends, fashion designers get influence, or they get ideas of, okay, like we can use a bit of this dhoti style or this print and add it to like a dress or to a skirt or to a scarf or whatever. But where are these designs coming from in general, right? Like where are you getting inspired from? that representation, that originality, I feel like we shouldn't lose, right? Because these saris, I mean, they have a huge history behind them. And although all these trendy like lehengas, corset lehengas, saris and all, they're all beautiful, they're all like, even I would wear one, that's fine. But I feel like we should also stick to the roots, I feel like, because in this world of like modern globalization and like, like trendy looks, I feel like you should also stick to the roots and be like, hey, listen, like this is the actual originality of a sari and these are like inspired from it.
No. I think exactly what you mentioned at the top of this, right? The origination of this, right? Like this is what royalty like this is what royalty like look like, right? And I think having like the sense of pride of like, yo, like royal, like 5,000 years ago, right? Like the top of the top was wearing this, right? And like again, like something like this was worn by like Raja, like, you know what I mean, like Raja's wives, like the queens of our subcontinent were wearing this, and now like you can just get this, right? Like it's accessible to you at a, at a price, but like think about it, if you were who you were 4,000 years ago,
exactly,
you were not getting this, like you were not able to purchase this, right?
And it's only reserved for the royals at that time.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, even if you could get your hands on, like, being able to make this, right? Yeah. And, like, I think, like, being able to originate that and have, like, a sense of pride in, like, your clothing, right? Yeah. It's, like, the same way that people, like, in, like, Western cultures, like, they'll pass down, like, their white, like, the white wedding dress, right? Exactly, and it's, like, because it has, like, a meaning and it's, it's translated throughout history, right? Yeah. But this is our version of that.
Exactly. And also, like, I also want to, like, shed some light on the weavers. Also, like, the craftsmanship that goes behind this. I mean, it's mostly, like, it's sometimes looked down on, but I feel like without them, we wouldn't have any of these designs, right? Like, from 5,000 years. Like, people could easily be like, hey, look, like, I give up. Like, there's machines. Like, there's, like, there's technology, advanced technology now, so we can just print designs and stuff. But props to the weavers who still have looms in the house and still creating the saris, right?
That is one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Is that like when we think about like craftsmanship and things being artisanal, right? When we think about them from a European and Western lens, we're like astounded. We're like, wow, like
this looks great.
We're like, wow, like an Hermes bag was like custom leather, handmade, like all of that, right? But like we look down because of like where they are geographically to the same craftsmanship of people in Chennai, right? Or people in India and people in Bangladesh, right? But that's still the same level of skill set with the craftsmanship, but we just look down on it because it's not through like a Eurocentric like lens, right? We're like, oh, like it's just a sari, like, and that annoys me, right? Because I'm like, yo, like, again, no shade, like, because everybody does it, right? When we go and again, we're haggling with like distributors, right? But it's like when you're saying that, like, hey, like something that took 60 days, 2 months to make, right? And you want to haggle down the price of it, right? Yeah. Like, what are you saying? Because you would never go to an Hermes store and try to haggle down the price of a Birkin.
Exactly. Or even like Brunello Cucinelli, right? Like the shirt itself, a linen shirt costs like $1,200, right? And it's a linen shirt that even Zara also sells it. But there's no way that everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, this is $50 shirt. Like, can I get it for $25? Like, there's no bargaining for that linen shirt, but an effort that it takes to create one Kanchipattu sari with like, like actual silk weaved into it with gold and like with all these motifs and intricate designs. And I feel like it saddens me sometimes to not like appreciate the weavers that put in the hard work, like day and night. They have to sun dry the sari, the threads, and then loom it and then make the whole process again. And it's like you're okay with the linen shirt, but you're not okay with weavers putting in like 50 days of work in one sari, and you want to haggle that down to like, oh, can I get it for this price? For that, like, I just feel like it's crazy.
It's crazy, but I am glad that like I think like our generation, like I think I saw it with like the whole like Scandinavian scarf debacle, right? Because I do think that there is like a sense of pride there, right? Where it's like, okay, like we're not we not jacking that. We're not like letting random
Yeah.
Western brands just like rip it and
Exactly.
completely take off like the history and the shine behind it. So I
Yeah.
do think that like we had like a level of like, okay, like we're not gonna stand for this, right? And hopefully
Exactly.
like that continues on and gets more entrenched as the generations go by, because
Yep.
we're gonna be like, okay, like this is the one thing that like, okay, like we have, because this is like a huge contribution from the Indian subcontinent to the world.
Yep, exactly. And I think like that's why I also like Gucci's interpretation of a sari. I mean, it's great. I mean, Gucci's trying to bring out like the representation of India, but I feel like if you're gonna put a representation on a red carpet, I think it should be in a actual, like, whatever you're saying. If you're trying to bring a sari to the red carpet, you should be bringing a sari to the red carpet.
I think that will come. I think that will come, right? Like whether it's from like a Gucci or one of these, like I'm hoping, right, as you get your more like your Alia Bhatts and your Deepikas getting invited to very specific fashion things, right, and like fashion places. I'm hoping that people will take that and say, okay, like this is my opportunity to wear something that may be a little risky because it is like rooted in something deep in history. But I hope that somebody takes that risk and that opportunity, that like, hey, when they do show up to the LV fashion
that could
show,
also be an add-on to the globalization, right? I mean, you could take like an authentic piece and have it worn at overseas on a red carpet. I mean, that's how Priyanka Chopra became big in America, because if she were to just stay in India and be like, hey, I'm an actress in India and I'm not gonna branch out in Hollywood, then nobody would know Priyanka
Chopra.
Yeah, I mean, like in a global wise, no, like not many people would understand why Priyanka Chopra is big, right? So that's kind of why I also wanted to start Sarees by Kara. I mean, my goal, hopefully one day I can kind of design a sari that I can have it worn on the Met Gala or the Cannes Film Festival, or like the red carpets, basically. And that's kind of also why I did the fashion show a few weeks ago. Kind of like a launch of Sarees by Kara. Only because like it was also fashion week in New York at that time, and all these fashion shows that I watched, I mean, they were all wearing like lehengas, and they were wearing like like dresses and like like new designs, which is great. But I mean, I just wanted to see someone rock a sari.
No. I hope that that's like more common. So like maybe like last year I held a suits and saris party in the city, right? Not because like the only reason I wanted to host that specific theme is because I'm like, I think that should be like more normal, right? Like I'm like, yo, like when I go to certain events, I'm like, these are events that aren't like, obviously we talked about the Valley, right? And those are very specific events where it's like, okay, like it makes sense, right? But I'm like, there's also no reason that like if we're going to like a movie screening or a movie premiere, right? Some of the homegirls, y'all should be able to pull out a sari, right? Like if you're gonna go buy a $500 dress from fucking Revolve, right? You should be able to just
rock a sari.
Rock a sari, right? Like hit up a Sarees by Kara. Hit up one of these like other designers that are in the U.S. Or, however, and that's what makes me happy, that there are options, right? So like I'm always going to talk to like a consumer and be like, yo, the options are there, right? Like find the designer that you rock with, and then again, if you're gonna get $500 to a Revolve for a dress that like 1,000 other people have, why wouldn't you just do $300 to $500 on a sari that nobody else has?
Exactly. And fashion is a form of self-expression, right? So, I mean, you could wear a sari, you could wear a dhoti, you could wear like a skirt, you could wear a dress, you can wear whatever. But I feel like many times people feel a little embarrassed, I would say, or look down whenever they wear something that's out of the ordinary, right? Let's say you're going to a movie theater, like you said, and then people are wearing like jeans or like a dress or something, and if a person wears like a salwar kameez or like a sari, it's like, oh, why is she wearing that? Right? I feel like we should try, like, I want to kind of, I mean, I don't know if I can do it, but I'm trying to kind of avoid people like looking down on that culture, because if like luxurious brands can have like dhoti and similar prints on a fashion show in Paris, then I can just I can just rock a sari in a movie theater and not get laughed at.
And I think that that's what's gonna be annoying, right? Is that as soon as the LV print sari comes out,
Yeah.
people are gonna be fine wearing that at like a red
Exactly.
carpet, right? But it's like, again, like that came from like because it got validated by whoever you think it needed to get validated by, right?
Exactly.
But like it already exists, right?
Exactly.
And you could do that today, right? Like
Yep.
I'm like, yo, we're in rooms where we're saying, again, like if we're talking about like expression of like self, right, and being
Yep.
authentically self, right? There's plenty of rooms that you should be able to scream like, yo, because that doesn't stop like other cultures and other places from wearing what they want to wear, right? Like you
Exactly.
co-signed it to
Yep.
this, right?
Yep.
I thought it was cool because obviously like Zoran just got elected, right?
Yeah.
And seeing his
That's
mom
great. That's great,
seeing
by
his
the way.
mom on
Yeah.
stage like in traditional wear.
Exactly.
I'm like, that's what I want to see. Like I don't want to see your like
I want to see real representation like that.
yeah, like that, like
Exactly.
when people talk about like representation, I'm like, yo, like I don't want to see your, like, yes, you just won mayor of New York, right? But I don't want to see your mom wearing like
A dress
a
or, like,
random
jeans.
dress,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like your mom should be pulled up in a sari, right? Because that is what she would wear.
Exactly.
And she shouldn't change what she would wear because of like whatever
Exactly.
circumstance that she's at right now, right? Like,
Exactly. And like also like I also want to say one thing, right? I mean, even if you go to India, people wear like jeans and tops and also saris. So I don't understand why we can't in US wear like jeans and tops, but also a sari.
mhm.
Because if a Western clothing can go across global, then Indian culture or Indian fashion can also go global and not get laughed at. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, right. Like think about like
Like,
think about
I don't
the thing that
understand it.
Westerners like expose, right? It's like capris, like
Yeah.
that. So that came from the West, capris, and then
Yes.
moved on to people in like Asia and South Asia
Yes.
wearing capris, right? So if that can translate, like
Then,
why
yeah.
why shouldn't it go back the other way with something as
Exactly.
beautiful and historic as this?
Exactly. And also, like, if you look at, like, the jeans, right? I mean, people used to love skinny jeans
Mm-hmm.
and, like, high-waisted jeans. But where has high-waisted jeans come from? It has come from the 80s.
Mm.
So all of these, like, new designs that people are coming from, it's actually a different inspiration from the past itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing for a sari as well. I mean, for lehengas, for, like, even, like, chaniya cholis or gagras, all of these, they're also, like, if you look at how a lehenga looks like, it's like a blouse and a skirt, which is what's needed, and like a choli on the side,
Mhm.
right? So, which is kind of how a sari is also worn as, right? You need an underskirt, you need a blouse, and like you need a sari to wrap around. So a lehenga is also inspired from a sari.
Mhm.
So I mean, it all comes back to that one piece of like fabric, and people can just wear it as however they want it to be worn as, right? So
You kind of mentioned this, and like, you know, when we like wrap the pod, right, we always ask, and I think I know yours, or I hope I know yours, right? But I ask people to call their shot, right? So something that they want to achieve in their like business or in their personal, in like the next 3, 5, 10 years,
Yeah.
whatever timeline, right? So please call your shot.
So Sarees by Kara, I want to achieve. Hopefully I can in 10 years or 5 years down the line.
It's not hopefully, it's going to happen.
In 5 years or 10 years down the line, I want to see either Priyanka Chopra or someone I'm from Hyderabad, so any South Indian actress rock an authentic Kanchipattu or Benares or Uppal, Gadwal, any type of authentic sari worn in a proper draping, in a navy draping or dhoti draping, rock a runway and on a red carpet.
Amazing.
Either on Met Gala or Cannes Film Festival, wherever it is, I want to see that happen. I'm going to make it happen.
You are going to make it happen. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all listening. Thank y'all. Peace.